What's up, guys? Josh with LynkSpyder. I actually was not planning on doing, well, really I wasn't planning on doing any videos with pandemic here. I hope everybody's doing well. I know it's hit some areas pretty hard. We're in central Missouri. It hasn't been too bad here. We're all taking precautions, doing the stuff that most people are doing. But I want you to know that we're thinking and praying for you guys and hoping this thing passes. It's been hard on some minor things as well. We've got a senior. Ball seasons are over. Some of these kids may never pick up a ball again. And it's a pretty sad deal in comparison to folks that are losing their lives. Obviously, it's not a big deal, but certainly seasons lost is a big deal for kids. So we are trying to make lemonade out of lemons here. I actually had ordered this camera in January. It comes from China. We typically don't do a lot of what I'm going to call knockoff GoPros. GoPro was the first people to come out with the rugged action camera. And then the folks overseas started knocking that off, and there are all kinds of different brands. And in fact, a lot of them use the same internals. We're not big on knockoffs because, quite honestly, we don't want people knocking our stuff off. But Insta360 has done some different stuff here. And so anyhow, we ordered this when it came out and when it was announced at CES in January. And then, of course, the whole world changed and it sort of went by the wayside. But this has actually been sitting on a runway in China for 2 weeks and left China yesterday, and it landed in our shop today. So I'm not big on those unboxing. Those guys that do those evidently have more skill and finesse than I do. I end up looking like a weed eater tearing boxes apart. So I have opened these boxes up so that you can see what comes in them. The Insta360 One R is a different kind of camera than we have used. It's a modular design. I've got engineering background. Modular is awesome. Nobody wants a thing that does one thing. So the modular concept does a couple of things. This is the base that we bought has the 1-inch sensor. It's a 5K camera. We want that for several reasons. Obviously, we want to record games with 5K, but we also want to record these kinds of things. What we're streaming on now is the new Mevo Start. It's the one that we're going to demo a little bit later on after we've had an opportunity to play with it. It's more of a streaming camera, kind of like the Mevo Plus. The Mevo Start is kind of a minor version of that. It has a little smaller resolution, has a couple extra features, including the audio in, which we're using with the Rode Go. Works very, very well. Anyhow, getting back to what we're talking about. This modular design comes with a base unit and then whichever lens you choose, whichever camera you choose. We chose the 1R. Excuse me, we chose the 5K 1-inch. But we also got the 360. Folks have asked us for a long time about 360 cameras. Really mounting something on a fence, a 360 camera doesn't do you a whole lot of good because once you get outside the baselines, it's sort of all junk, and then you're going to get fence, and then you're going to get the crazies behind the fence. Now, that might be kind of fun, but for most things, it's not going to be very useful. We're certainly going to use it, and then we're going to demo it on the fence so you can see what it looks like, and maybe that's something that you want to do. But the other thing that we got is the 4K sensor. And the 4K sensor obviously is slightly lesser resolution than the 5K, but it has a couple different field of view adjustments, and so we ended up getting that anyhow just to try that out. So the really cool thing about this is it comes with a base unit, and this base unit is your battery, and it comes off, and once it comes off, this separates. And what's really awesome is you can flip that over and have your LCD display on the same side. So if I'm doing a recording like this, I can see myself, and that works well. Probably, again, not on the ball field would you want to do that. But for something like this, I would say that would work very well. But again, because it's modular, you can take this off, and then you can put this guy on. And now you're doing 360. Or you can take that off, and you can put this guy on, I think. Oh, I see. It's offset a little bit. And now this probably looks, well, actually, let's switch it around this way. This probably looks a little familiar, right? very similar to the GoPro. A little bit wider, a little bit shorter. This guy snaps back on here, and when you do that, it keeps it in place. And then they recommend that you actually put it in the case to make it waterproof. We're going to be very cautious with this, with water. I'm not calling them liars, certainly not doing that at all. But I can see light through this. And if I can see light, water can get through there. Looks like we turned it on. And so because of being able to see light, that tells me that fits are not perfect. Even with that case on there, it's certainly not going to close it down. So we'd be real cautious. We bought this directly from Insta360. We did not use a domestic distributor, and the reason why is because, well, we wanted it fairly soon, and that didn't happen. But I still think we got it faster than we would have gotten if we'd used a local distributor. I mentioned that to say, if I was to stick this in water and I had a problem, I'm going to guess I'm going to have difficulty getting it taken care of quickly, if at all. If you bought it from somebody, let's say BH or some other reputable distributor, they would probably work with you if you were able to show that you followed the directions. So really, that's about all I'm going to show you. These are the items that it came with. I guess because it was late, because even before the pandemic hit, it ended up getting pushed back. And I saw this got added to my order. It's an extra battery pack. So that's kind of cool. It's always good business when people recognize that they made a little mistake and they want to scratch your back a little bit. And I think that's just really good business. Talking about this, the one thing it looks like that I don't care for is that there's no charging port on this battery. And it looks like what you have to do is mount it to the camera and then use the USB-C charger, which is not a bad idea. You have one less port that could get hit with water. But it also means that you have to have the camera to charge this battery. For what we do on recording games with external batteries, we generally power the camera directly with an external battery. We haven't tested that. Some cameras you can't do that with. You can't record and charge at the same time. We just don't know. Literally just came in. So we will be testing that. We'll be putting it through our torture test with the heat chamber to see how long of a life it has at typically 100 degrees Fahrenheit, just to see what kind of issues there are. And then obviously we're going to get it up on the fence. We're going to show you what it looks like on a LynkSpyder. We're going to record a field. Not a lot of games going on, if any games going on, but you can certainly see what the field looks like. Really interested to see how the field looks like on this 1-inch sensor. I'm very curious to see if we're able to manipulate field of views with the 1-inch sensor. I'm concerned that that's the difference between the 4K and the 5K. I'm fairly certain you can adjust field of views with that. What I don't know is on this one. So we will be trying that, and we're going to let you know. If you have questions, if there's certain things that you specifically want to see tested, reach out. We're on Facebook, Twitter, all the places, but you can also catch me at josh@linkspyder.com. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you.